going on, world? DS1 Ross, and we back here on SheepStaysLeepTV. Shout out to everybody who support the platform. Much love, much love. Salute to everybody that's in the building. Salute to everybody that's in the building right now. Shout out to all you visionaries, man. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to all you guys, man. Shout out to y'all that's in the chat. I'm gonna get over here to the chat in a minute and give some shout outs. But before we do, make sure y'all hit that like button and make sure y'all share today's show. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all share today's show. We are going to get into it today. We're going to get into it today, y'all. We're going to get into it today, man. Shout out to all of the visionaries once again. Shout out to y'all. Like I said, make sure y'all hit the like button and make sure y'all share today's show while we get into it. So shout out to Charles Willie in the building. She said TGIF, everyone. Much love to you, Shaw. Good to see you. Shout out to Sir O in the building. Salute to the Villains Fair. Salute. Salute to my man Bob in the building. Shout out to you, Bob. Good to see you, bro. Shout out to Shango Zulu in the building. Salute, fam. Salute, salute. Hey, what's up, Letitia? Good to see you. Good to see you. Shout out to Miss Queena in the building. Shout out to you, love. I appreciate you always coming through and holding down the chat. Shout out to Queena in the building. Shout out to my man Ricky Webster. Salute, my brother. Good to see you. Shout out to my brother Po Boy Films in the building. Salute, family. Salute, salute, salute. Shout out to you, Letitia. She said, I missed the show yesterday because it was my birthday. But I watched the replay and it was so awesome. I'm mad I had to miss it. It's okay. And happy belated birthday to you, Letitia. Good to see you. Happy belated birthday to you. You the end of Pisces. Huh? Shout out to you and happy birthday. Let's see who else up in here. Shout out to everybody, man. I appreciate everybody. Shout out to everybody that's in the clouds. Like I said, make sure y'all like and share today's show. Like and share today's show because we are going to cook today. We're about to cook because make sure y'all share the show. Make sure y'all share the show. I'm going to share today's show and we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it. I appreciate it, Queena. I appreciate it. Much love, much love, much love. Shout out to my bro. He said, just a little support for the message. One love, props due. Appreciate you, Ricky. Appreciate you. Y'all see today's show. Y'all see today's show. This is the real reason why men get their hearts broken. As y'all see in the description box, this will be part 5 to This Is What Happens When Men Give Everything to the Wrong Women. This is going to be part 5. I asked everyone, what were their ideas? What did they think? Did they have anything to add? I put the community post out. A lot of guys, y'all liked it. Y'all didn't give me any responses. Y'all didn't leave y'all ideas. Y'all didn't leave any suggestions. But y'all did say y'all wanted a part 5. So I said this will be the perfect way to end the series. If we speak on the real reasons why men get their heart broke, because I know a lot of guys, they always wonder why. And what we do, or what the male ego allows men to do, is it allows us to come up with all these other reasons except the right reason, except the natural reason why men get their heart broke. Men get their hearts broken. See, because a lot of guys, and y'all have heard me say this since I started speaking about relationships, and this is going on 2 weeks now, and this is going on my second week. And shout out to my brother Mr. Sutton in the building. Shout out to Anthony Touchstone in the building. Salute, salute, salute. And the one thing that a lot of us guys were taught was we were taught the wrong way on how to view relationships, especially intimate relationships. But I'm going to just say relationships in general, because even though you may be intimate with someone, you know, you may have a companion and y'all are intimate, you still have to have the relationship with them. You see, this is why y'all heard me going in about sex and how in a relationship, sex is prioritized, how sex is glamorized, and how sometimes sex can be the reason why a lot of guys, fail in their relationships. You see, because even though you may be in a intimate relationship, what happens when y'all are not intimate? And for a lot of guys, that's the hard part. The hard part is not so much the intimacy, it's the relationship part. It's the part where you actually have to be in a relationship. And a lot of times, with a lot of us guys, we think that, or we were taught that, because we're learning now through trial and error, through a lot of brothers, um, starting podcasts, starting YouTube channels, and just helping brothers. Because I noticed there's an influx of this now. There's a lot of brothers out here, speaking to brothers and trying to help brothers, which is a great thing. And what I notice is we always say that we were taught the wrong way about relationships. We were taught see, a lot of us get up here and we talk about the women being taught a fantasy about relationships, but so were we. So were we. That is why in these cartoons, you always had a male and a female. You always had a man who had a love story, and so did a woman. You heard the love story from both sides. But see, as men, we don't see how that affected us. We don't see it. So a lot of us walk around here with our capes on, thinking that it's our job to save women from themselves. It's not even so much save women from the world, but save them from themselves. And this is something that we cannot do as men. And a lot of us guys, and a lot of and we have to admit the majority of us are guilty of this because we don't know that we cannot save them from themselves until we figure this shit out. A lot of us guys think that that's our job to navigate and guide our woman, around the pitfalls, around certain things in life. That's not our job for our women. That is what you're supposed to do for your children, not for a grown adult. See, when you're in a relationship, as I always say, it's your job to relate. That's our job. It's not your job to say, "Oh, I'm gonna make sure she don't do this. I'm gonna make sure she don't do that." You can say that, but we know in a relationship that that's not always so. You see, we all know that we don't control women. What a woman does is because she chooses to do it. She chooses to go with your plan. It's not because she's forced to. You see? And at the end of the day, I want a willing participant around me. I don't want to feel like I'm dealing with a hostage. I don't want to feel like I'm in a hostage situation where I'm forcing someone to do what it is I need them to do. That's just not my style. That's corny. But a lot of us guys think that us being men, it just automatically grants us control of women. It's like we got this Beauty and the Beast complex. And it's wrong. It's wrong. And I'm gonna tell you why it's wrong. Because the real reason why men get their why men get their hearts broken, the real reason why men get their hearts broken is because we have learned, which is the wrong way, we have learned to have expectations from women. We've drew these expectations. We have these unwritten expectations. And I know some of y'all are like, wait a minute. What's wrong with having expectations of your woman, DS1? There's nothing wrong with that. Yes, it is. And I'm here to tell you that it is. Y'all give me 1 second. Okay, we back. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. But like I said, expectations. Expectations is the real reason why men have their hearts broken. Because we sat around as young boys, little boys, and We looked at cartoons, we looked at all the things on TV, and we came up with these unwritten expectations for our lives and for our relationships. We thought that if we become Bill Cosby, Dr. Huxtable, that we expected to have a Claire Huxtable. If I become Dr. Cliff Huxtable, I expect to have a Claire. I expect this. If I'm Carl Winslow, I expect to have a Harriet. If I am Uncle Phil, I expect to have, I forgot her name, Vivian. I expect this. As you get older, brothers, as we get older, this is what happened to us. Shout out to Miss Angie in the building. Shout out to my brother Po Boy Films. It's this level of expectation that we develop, brothers. And I know a lot of us may not think that having expectations is wrong, but it is. Let's define expectations. What is an expectation? Because a lot of things we were taught wrong. Expectations, a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. Let me read that again so y'all can hear this. An expectation is a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. Now, with men having foresight, this is why men also have expectations. Because with our forward thinking, with our thinking into the future, we expect something to occur based on what we put into the formula for it to work. Whatever we come up with, whatever process we come up with, we expect to have this desired outcome in the future. This is another reason why a lot of men have expectations. See, what I'm telling you having expectations is it's wrong, but it's natural to have. Most people today, most people who live life in general, they have expectations of things. But let's live in reality. The things that you expect to happen, will they happen? That's a yes and a no. You see, that's a yes or a no, just based on the definition. Because an expectation is a strong belief that something will happen. It's a belief that something will happen. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So just because you suffered early in your life and you decided not to deal with women, right? You've decided to, not party and, not do all of that stuff. Just because you've decided to do that, don't expect for you or for your life to be the way you thought it would be because you sacrificed those things. See, this is what a lot of us men are truly hung up on. This is where a lot of our stress and depression about life and things that happen to us, this is where they occur. They occur in the realm of expectation. I'm a six-figure guy. I got a six-pack. I'm over 6 feet. I make over six figures. I have more than 6 inches. Why can't I find a woman that will be faithful to me? I expect to find a wife because I fit the criteria that was put out there for me, but not by me. But I still expect the results that they say I should get. Listen to that, fellas. If I went to school, if I have a good career, if I'm able to take care of a woman, I expect to have a family. I expect to have a wife. I expect to have a woman who's going to cooperate with me. Why wouldn't she do it? Why shouldn't she do it? It's a better choice. I'm the better choice. This is what you guys are hung up on. You're hung up on expectations. I've been listening to you guys for years now. Well, if I can really take care of her, if I can really give her the life that she wants, why wouldn't she take it? You're upset, my brother, because you expect her to. You expect her to. You expect her to take what you have to offer because you think it's a better decision for her. You think it's a better deal for her. And it may be a better deal for her on paper. It may be a better deal for her logically. So that's why you expect for her to follow suit. Because you expect to get your desired outcome. These are all expectations. These are all expectations. And expectations is of the realm of fallacy. You see? This is why you heard this popular phrase growing up. Only thing guaranteed is bills and death. That's the only thing that's guaranteed. Nothing else is guaranteed. Don't expect anything else in life. Expect those bills to keep coming and expect your ass to die. All that other shit is of the realm of fallacy. Is of the realm of fallacy. And I want brothers to understand this today because this is the shit that's hurtful to us. These are the things that we don't get over. And what hurts us so bad and what scars us is the fact that we've expected our lives to be a certain way. because we weren't told as little boys that expectations are not real, son. They're just in your mind. They're just in your mind, son. See, a lot of us, we weren't taught that. And if we were, we learned that after we got our hearts broken. We learned that afterward. We learned through trial and error. We had to go through some shit to learn some shit. We had to learn that no matter if we did have the six-figure job, no matter if we did buy the $100,000 house and buy the Benz outside, that still wasn't going to keep her from opening her legs to other men. That was not going to stop her from trying to embarrass you and belittle you out in public. See, you thought because you got in shape and you got your image together that she still wasn't going to dish you in front of other people. Well, what's she going to say about me? I got a six-pack. I got abs. But then when she get around people, when you go around her family, when you go around her friends, she start talking about how uneducated you are. She start talking about how your ass can't even write a 2-page essay. See, you expected her to respect you because of your image. Oh, what can she say about me? You expected this. Expectations is of the realm of fallacy. We cannot go around in this life, brothers, expecting anything from anyone because it's not real. A lot of us that grew up in poverty, once we touched a certain amount of money at some point in our lives, we thought that we'll never be broke again. How many of us know about this? How many of us have ever experienced that? Will you expect to never go back down? You expect to stay on the level that you're on. These are expectations, men, in life that we cannot have. Because the only thing guaranteed is death. And I'm not trying to scare brothers. I'm being real. Too many of us are not dealing in reality. Fully in reality. We're not dealing with reality. We haven't come to terms with reality completely. A lot of us are still caught up on silly shit. And I say it's silly because when you actually just sit down and look at it from a logical perspective, you realize how silly it is. And you realize, like, damn, and that makes it hurt even more to men. It bruises our ego to say, damn, I've been stuck in a rut for a long time just for me to realize that I've been hung up on some simple shit. I could have been got over this. This is what a lot of us say to ourselves. But I'm here to tell you, brothers, no, you can't just get over it. And no, you shouldn't get over it. And what you go through is what you go through, and you should go through it because it's necessary, because that is how you learn the lesson. That is how you learn the lesson. That's how you learn a lesson. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second, y'all. Right back. Okay, we back. We back. Shout out to everybody that's here. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Tone Malone in the building. Shout out to Nadia. Good to see you, Nadia. Shout out to Seven Holiday. Salute, salute. But as I was saying, no matter how hurtful it is to realize something like this that you may now see is to be so simple, you have to go through the process to learn about yourself and how you relate to life. See, brothers, what this is my thing. This is my thing. Brothers, what we need to aspire to do is to become the best versions of ourselves. As I spoke about in part 3, fulfillment over everything is the key. So even when you're in a relationship with a woman, that relationship is ultimately supposed to teach you something. Whether it went good or whether it went bad, it is supposed to teach you something about life. It is supposed to give you a life lesson and a personal lesson. Every relationship, every interaction, there should be a personal lesson and a life lesson in it. You are supposed to receive both, whether the relationship was good, whether the relationship was bad. But a lot of times we don't see the lessons because we're blinded by our expectations. You see, our expectations for that relationship was so strong, was so big that when it didn't go that way, when it didn't go that way, you crumbled. When it didn't go the way you expected, you folded. And when I say folded, I mean you gave up on you. You started questioning you. You started believing that everything in life is just your fault and you're a big old loser. And I'm here to tell you, brothers, that's not so. There's some things that's just not going to work out your favor in life. It's just not going to work out in your favor. It's just not. You can do all the right things. Still doesn't mean that you're going to get what you want. You expect to get what you want. That doesn't mean that you're going to get it. That's not how life works, fellas. See? A lot of us, brothers, we become slaves to expectations. And we think that the harder and harder that we work and the more expectations that we draw from people, that actually means that we're doing something in life. No, we're not. We're running in circles. Because let's just be honest with ourselves, fellas. The expectations that we have for ourselves, do we live up to them? Do we live up to them? Think about that. You can put all the expectations on a woman. You can put all the expectations on your mama. You can put all the expectations on your daddy. You can put all the expectations on your children. You can put all the expectations into the doctor when you go see the doctor. Does that mean they're going to live up to what you expect them to be, or live up to do what you expect them to do? Let's be real, fellas. Your ass can go to the best surgeon in America to get surgery. Does that mean he's going to save your life? And you may expect him to be able to, because he's the best surgeon in the United States. You have the money to pay for it. So you expect this surgery to go well. You expect to wake up out of surgery. But is there a guarantee that you will? Is there a guarantee that you will? You see, fellas? You see, do you see how our bruised egos could paint us into a corner? You see what happens when you don't check your ego? And when it becomes bruised, what it can do to you, how it could fuck up your life, how it could keep you stagnant, how it can keep allowing you to put yourself in positions to continue to get your heart broke. And you constantly deal with heartbreak in a bunch of situations. Why? Because you keep coming in with these expectations. Because you keep counting on people to treat you the way you treat them, because the way that you are. You expect, because you have a good heart, for other people to treat you according to your good heart. Right? How could she do this to me? What will make her do this to me? See, when you hear those words, and this is not me clowning nobody, but when you hear these words, these are the words of a man who has been living on expectation. He's been living on expectation. He's been expecting her to respect him, to respect his home, just because he paid for it. And this is what you hear from a lot of men today. This is where a lot of the gripes come from. Comes from expectation. Well, I went to school. I suffered. I chose not to be a pookie. I chose to leave the block. I chose not to sell drugs. Why can't I have Brittany Renner? I deserve a big booty model. I deserve sexy women. Men who sacrifice their life early, they deserve sexy women. No, that's what you expect. Who said you deserve it? You said you deserve it. That's your expectation. that you drew up for yourself a long time ago when you decided to not go and party with your homeboys, to not chill out, to not make the mistakes that common men make when they were young, which is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. But don't expect to have different results than the guys who did go out and party. Because you're not going to have, you don't think that you're going to have better success when it comes to having a family. Don't think that. Because that's a level of expectation. And you may get with a woman that doesn't meet your expectation. Does that mean she's not a good woman for you? No. But you may never find a good woman for you because of your expectations. You see? And you got to be careful with these expectations, fellas, because you have to remember everyone has them. You see? Everyone has expectations. If a woman likes you, if she finds you attractive, if she decides to have sex with you, guess what? She's expecting for you to know what you're doing. You see? She's expecting for you to know what you're doing. But what if you don't? What if you don't? What if she's expecting you to have certain things in life that you don't have? Now, her idea of you has changed. But whose fault is that? That's not your fault. That's her fault because she expected something instead of just simply asking a question to find out. You see? I need you brothers to understand where this goes and how deep it is. You see? A woman is expecting, when she gets with a man, she's expecting him to have leadership qualities. She's expecting him to know what it is he wants from life, where it is he want to go, what it is he want to do. They're expecting us to know this, fellas, but there's a lot of us who don't. So does that make us horrible men? No. That just make us men who weren't prepared. Where a lot of us are still not prepared. But she expected you to be prepared for her. You see? Just like you expected her to be prepared for a guy like you. And it's not true. You see? Because if our expectations were real, then there will be no reason for a relationship. There'll be no reason to actually relate. Because all of our needs are met. We got everything we wanted. Hey, that'll take the relating out of the relationship. You see? You see? And fellas, what I need you to do too is stop just when we're talking about relationships, stop just talking about intimate relationships. You got to get into figuring out how to relate with everything in life. Everything we deal with is a relationship. I have a relationship with y'all. Y'all have a relationship with me. Y'all are talking in the chat room. Y'all are talking amongst each other. Y'all are responding to me. I am speaking to y'all. I am responding to y'all. I am in a relationship with my supporters. Y'all are in a relationship with me, the content creator. Start looking at things like this, fellas. You're in a relationship with life. You're in a relationship with life. Everybody and everything you encounter, there's a relationship there. So when you have a level of expectations of things and of people, we just got to understand that that's not real. To believe something will happen in the future doesn't guarantee that it will. No matter how much work you put in, no matter how much of whatever you put into it, it's not guaranteed to work. You see? That's why they say faith without works are dead. Because if you're not going to put in the work, you really what's the sense of having faith? You believe something will happen, you work toward it happening the way you want it to, but it doesn't mean that it's going to. That's life, fellas. That's life. And you do not want to make your life a living misery because of your expectations of people and things. This is why they say the good die young. This is why they say good people get treated the worst. Because these people expect to get the same thing in return, and they don't. And they continue to put themselves out there over and over and over and over, expecting to get their desired result because of what they've done. That's not life, fellas. That is not going to work for us in life. Your ass could go to work the whole week and expect your paycheck today on Friday. And they could send a memo out through the whole office telling people, we're not getting paid today because something happened to our accounting software. So we are going to send you guys this check out. You guys should receive y'all checks by Monday. Y'all sound off in the chat room and let me know, have that happened to you? I know that happened to me on a lot of jobs. You work all goddamn week and expect that check to be there. Something magically happens. These expectations. These expectations. See, that's why, fellas, we have to always remain in reality. And we have to plan and put things into effect just in case your expectations don't come to fruition. It doesn't come into what you think it's supposed to come into. See, we have to be prepared for this. We have to be prepared for this mentally. You see? Because when things don't go the way we expected them to go, we begin to think that we've done something wrong or it's just not meant for us. It's not that. That's just part of this life. It's a harsh reality, but it's a reality that us men must accept. You see? That is, one of the things that a lot of us have trouble with. Because once again, that affects the male ego. And when the male ego is bruised or hurt we go into this rebellion mode. This is what we've been seeing play out here online for the past 10 or however many years that you guys been around and you've been listening to what you've been listening to. This is what you've been seeing from the men. You've been seeing an outrage. You've been seeing on display right in front of you the bruised male ego. That's what all these topics and all of this shit, that's what all of this stuff comes from. That bruised ego. Not being able to accept no. Not being able to accept that things did not go the way I thought it would. And a lot of things in life is not going to go the way that you thought it would. That is some hard shit to accept for men. It is. Especially if you a man that has an ego, that has pride. All men have an ego. But if your ego is kind of inflated, if you have like a little chip on your shoulder about yourself, if you're feeling yourself a little bit, this type of stuff hurts you guys the most. See, expectations is what destroyed the athlete in high school who everybody expected to go to the league and he never went. You see? I grew up with a lot of those guys. I grew up in a time when I was in high school, a lot of guys, well, I'm going to just say this. When I was in high school, the guys who played on the basketball team, they played against Sebastian Telfair. And there was a lot of guys in my school who were NBA prospects. They were NBA prospects because they were that good. So they expected, regardless to having bad grades, regardless to hanging out with the wrong people, because of their talent and their talent alone, they expected to go to the next level. And they didn't. A lot of those guys went to college. After college, they fell off. Because their expectations were higher than their work ethic. You see, they thought that they didn't have to work anymore, or that they can live off their expectations. This is what happens to the so-called, or what y'all like to call, the educated lane. This is what happens to him. He lives off the expectation of, okay, I'm in a fraternity. I get all the women. All the women are going to like me. I'm a newt. I'm a sigma. All the women like me. All the women respect me. All the women want to be with me. I'm a jock. I'm a jock. I'm the captain of the football team. My woman will never cheat on me. Expectations. I'm going to always be the man. I was the man when I was growing up in school. How many of y'all know them type of dudes? They was the man in high school. Everybody knew them. They were popular. You see them today? A lot of them on drugs. A lot of them in prison. A lot of them are just not what we expected. I'm going to just say that. It didn't go the way we thought it would go for them. It didn't go the way they thought it would go for them because they lived their lives based on expectations. Look what happens to musicians, actors, when you want to get into the entertainment industry. I'm going to give you a real life example for myself, one of my homeboys, and I always talk about him. Y'all can go look him up. He was on a 2008 BET Cypher with Nicki Minaj. It was either 2008 or 2009. Crown Royale. I grew up with him. That's one of my best friends. I'm talking about grew up with each other in the same building, not just going to school. We grew up together. He has been musically inclined since we were little kids. He come from a musical family. His father was a drummer for James Brown. His mother is a singer in the legendary group Sky. He's also related to the Tate family. Lorenz Tate is his mother's first cousin. So when we were young, we expected this brother to be famous one day. We expected it. We expected it. We expected to see him on TV. We expected him to become a superstar. He hasn't made it yet. He has not made it yet. When we were teenagers, we used to hang out with Making the Band. You see all of this stuff going on now with Freddie P coming out about Diddy? We knew that when we were young. We used to hang out with them. We used to hang out with them. Why? Because my homeboy, who I was just telling y'all about, he was a producer. He had an artist who he brought to Diddy and to Diddy's people, and they gave them a deal. He had a production deal with an artist. So they were in Daddy's house with Ines, with Babs, Freddie P, Chopper, Sarah. We hung out with them. We hung out with them. See, just like y'all was watching the Making a Band show and y'all was expecting them to become huge superstars, I was hanging out with them. I knew it wasn't true. We used to go with Freddie P and Ness and them to McDonald's. We used to eat off the dollar menu every day. We was around when they had to walk to Junior's for cheesecake. We was around for that. We was hanging out with them. This is why expectation is dangerous, fellas. It can actually ruin your life. When you expect someone to keep it real with you, to be honest with you. I'm here to tell y'all, brothers, man, that shit is not guaranteed. And this is a hard pill to swallow in life, but this is a pill that we have to swallow, man. Because what? We are pressing toward fulfillment. And on that journey, of course, we're going to deal with a whole lot of shit. Because up until this point that we are right now as men, we've dealt with a lot of shit. So don't think we're not going to deal with a whole lot more. Don't think that. Don't expect things to get easier. See, a lot of us expected things to get easier once we made six figures. We expected life to get easier once we got that car we wanted. Once we got out of financial debt, we expected life to get easier then. We expected the bills to get easier to pay once we start making more money. We expected our relationships with our women to become easier because we have the resources, right? You just expected her to be in pocket because that bag is there. You expected this. Just like she expected you not to be a lame with money. See? She expected you to be cool. She expected you to be fun. She expected you to have a plan. That don't mean that you do. Because expectations is of the realm of fallacy. So why would you base your life around expectations? Why would you create a plan for yourself, for your family, all based in expectation? See how dangerous this can be? Because imagine raising your children with this mindset to just go out and to just expect this. And then when they learn the lesson that it's not guaranteed, what do? They rebel against you. This is where you hear children saying, all my parents did was lie to me. They lied to me. Yeah, they lied to you. But they only told you a lie that they believed. See, because they believe in expectations. They believe that. They believe that tomorrow morning, when they wake up and their alarm goes off and it tells them that it's time to go to work, that they still actually have a fucking job. When you could wake up tomorrow and don't have a goddamn job no more. But you expect your job to be there because your goddamn alarm went off. You see how tricky this shit is, y'all? You see why I say it's a spiritual warfare, fellas? You see why I say that? Because look how they play on you. Just because your alarm went off don't mean you got a job. Your ass might wake up in heaven tomorrow. But you expecting to go to work. We can't continue to live our lives like this, fellas. We are hurting us. See, we have to realize, fellas, that we've been taught to hurt ourselves. Why do you think that slavery's on autopilot? They could take the chains off now. Because the chains are up here. The chains are here. You see, the programming is so strong, they can just remind you of where you used to be physically, and that'll bind you mentally. It'll arrest you mentally. It'll arrest you emotionally. And now they got you. You see, to be indebted to something that is not real is also to be a slave. You're a slave to something that's not real. Expectations are not real. No matter how strong you may believe in something, you can strongly believe in the wrong shit. You see? You can strongly believe in the wrong shit. You can strongly believe in some shit that's actually not good for you. Doesn't mean that it's bad. It just may not be good for you. But the whole thing about expectations is false. Because what? Let's go back to the definition. Expectation, a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future. A belief that someone will or should achieve something. This is the second definition. A belief that someone will or should achieve something. So because you 6'8", you should go to the NBA. Because you're a tall ass teenager, you should be playing basketball. Because if you get good enough, you're going to go to the NBA. It's expected for you to go to the NBA. Why? Because you have the physicality. Who didn't expect Shaq to go to the NBA? But who didn't expect that guy that's in prison, who's better than Jordan, who expected him to be in prison and not in the NBA? See, who expected that? See how there's no guarantees in life, fellas? But death. See, you can expect to die, and you don't even have to expect it. You know it's going to happen. You see? People expect because you're a certain height that you know how to play sports. People expect for you to be a man of quality and of good character because you may come from the military. So people may expect you to carry yourself with dignity, to look another man in the face and respect them and not lie to them. See, we expect this. That doesn't mean that it's so. See, because I had to get a crash course in what a blue falcon is, what a shit bird is. Because growing up my whole life, I respected military men and still do. But I had this level of expectation because the military men in my family, the way that they carried themselves. So me being a civilian, I had a level of respect for them that I think people should just they should expect to get from people because of what they've given. But I had to learn that that's not so. And a lot of my military brothers had to let me know, hey man, some of these guys are worse than you civilian men. You know, these guys have the same hangups as you guys, man. Don't think that we're so much different. The ones that are different, you'll be able to see it when you're around them. You'll know. The ones who uphold those things, you'll see it when you're around them. But don't expect, because we're military guys, that we hold this standard, because not all of us do. You see? So I had to even get a reality check. And I still give myself reality checks about life, fellas. Don't think that you're gonna get this shit down packed and perfect. Because that's not what it is. It's about what? Becoming the best version of yourself. And the only way you can do that is you have to begin to see clear about you and your life and life in general. You see? And as I said before, that's a hard pill to swallow. To not have our expectations met as men is a hard pill to swallow, but it's life. It's life. Whoever said being a man was easy? Whoever said being a man was going to be easy, man? Whoever said that? I don't want brothers to continue to put themselves in a dark place because of something that's not real. Don't put yourself in the box and try to run away from life. Don't live your life on autopilot where life start living you and you're not living life because your expectations were never met. So now you just letting life live you. We can't do that, brothers. This is why I say we got to heal before we build. And this is why we have these healing sessions here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. This is why. Because just like I'm trying my best to stop life from living me, I don't want life to be living y'all. Because when we start letting life live us, we become shitty to one another as men. The communication is always messed up. It's always hostility in the air. That's because life is living us, man. We're not living life. We're letting life live us because we're allowing the events and the things that take place in life control how we think and how we feel about ourselves. And we have to stop doing that as men. A lot of the things that happen to us is not something that that just happens to us. It happens to all men. All men carry the same expectations that we speak on. We all expect to have women who are going to cooperate. All men expect that, especially if we're hardworking, good men. We expect to have those type of women, but that doesn't grant you one. You see, that doesn't grant you a good wife. Do you deserve one? Yes, but that doesn't grant you one. See, that's what expectation tells you. Expectation tells a man that you're automatically granted this. You're automatically rewarded with this. And that's not true. And that shit is driving men to suicide. It's driving men to homelessness. It's driving men to the mental health institutions. It's driving men to heavy drug usage, heavy alcohol usage, heavy reliance on sex because of these expectations that were never met. When expectations are not real, they're not real. They're not real. And brothers, we cannot let the things that are not real affect us in real life. See, because that's what lies do. Lies affect you in real time. That's what lies do. Expectations are not real. Why let something that is not real guide you in life? You see? You see? So shout out to everybody in the building. Salute to everyone for coming through to today's show. Please hit the like button and share today's show. This is part 5. This is what happens when men give everything to the wrong women. See, you expected her to be a good woman because you're a good guy. You expected her to cooperate because you've set things up in a way where all she got to do is fall into this position and play her role. So you expected her to do that. You see? And you expected this plan to work. But what if it doesn't? What does that do to you? Mentally, emotionally, what does that do to you? Pay attention to that, fellas. Pay attention to what you think and what you feel when your expectations aren't met. Do you get angry and you spaz out? I know I used to. Do you become recluse and you go away? Do you do that? Pay attention because I want you to understand how expectations are hurting you so you could begin to learn how to deal with it. And over time, you will begin to remove the expectations that you have from people. Because the only expectation you can have is for yourself. That is something that is drawn up in your mind about you and only you. And those expectations can only hurt you. This is why when the woman don't live up to your expectations, it doesn't hurt her, it hurts you. This is why she can sit there and say, hey, I don't care. Because it was your expectations of her. It wasn't what she thought about herself. She don't think that way about herself. That's what you think about her. That's what you think she should be doing with her life. That's not what the hell what she thinks for her. She doesn't see that life for her. That's the life that you see for her. Because that is the life that you want her to live for you. You see, expectations comes from you. Expectations is only for you. You cannot put your expectations on no one else. So you cannot get upset when those are not met. When someone don't meet your expectations, you cannot get upset, bro. Because expectations is for the person. You can't put no expectations on nobody else. Because expectations, there's no guarantees in the realm of expectation. There is no system that tells you that's going to happen. You see? You see? This is why she may seem cold to you. Because those are your expectations. They're not hers. They're not hers. Those are expectations you've had for her. Those are not the expectations she had for herself. And I need you brothers to understand this. Because what? We're pressing toward fulfillment. So shout out to everyone once again. I appreciate y'all for tuning into today's show. Shout out to 1G in the building. I see you, my brother. Shout out to Fierce Soul. Shout out to my brother, Mr. Sutton, on the check-in. Hey, lovely. Good to see you, lovely piece. Good to see you. Shout out to Shaw Newsom in the building. You always in them clouds, falling out them clouds. Good to see you, Shaw Newsom. Lovely P say yes, and I'm going to watch what I missed. The weather got me sleepy. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to you, Queena, for coming through and holding down the chat as always. Shout out to you, Miss Angie, always coming through and holding down the chat as well. Much love to you. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to all the visionaries. I appreciate y'all for tuning into today's show. I appreciate you if you hit the like button, if you hit the share button. If you haven't yet, make sure you do so. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I drop some new content right here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. Also, if you enjoyed today's show, don't hesitate to donate to the show. Cash App $ Sheep Stay Sleep TV. That's Cash App $ Sheep Stay Sleep TV is where you can go. It is also going across the screen. Much love to everyone. If you have donated, if you hit the super chat, if you hit the Cash App, I appreciate it. Shout out to you guys once again. I will be continuing the relationship talk that you guys asked for. So y'all stay tuned. Also, I will be bringing back my pre-records this week. So stay tuned for some pre-recorded content. Yes, I'm almost, not yet, but I'm almost back into the mode that I was once in. I'm almost back. Not yet, but I'm almost there. So shout out to y'all. I appreciate y'all for being patient with me. You know, we're just in March. You know, we're still in the first quarter. You know, so I appreciate y'all for bearing with me. And but the pre-records will be coming back. So shout out to y'all once again. Like I said, y'all can catch this video. Go to the playlist section, giving everything to the wrong women. This is part 5. The final part of this series. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. DS1 Raw, Sheep Stay Sleep TV. And remember, brothers, we got to heal before we build. We got to heal before we build. Expectations is of the realm of fallacy. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.